Hello, everyone. Today I will be going over the vicious cycle. That's a cycle that I talked about in introduction a little bit. Again, my name is Greta Kay. I do help people with alcohol addiction, and today I want to go over what I call this vicious cycle and kind of explain how to not get into it. Right. So again, my last try of everything I knew before I stopped drinking was not drinking for long periods of time, which was a year. And then right after that, I started drinking a little bit and I thought I was cured. So I was going into like the parties and have one drink, two drink, obviously five drinks, right? Until I end up in a hospital again a month later. That's when I realized that there's no such a thing as drinking socially for us who has the addiction to alcohol. So what I call a vicious cycle is a cycle that gets you from your, starting point, which is the first drink, to your lowest point, which is your bottom. So everybody has different cycles, right? My bottom was ending up in a hospital because I couldn't stop drinking myself. And the starting point is always the first drink. So the only way, and that's why I call my method the only way, the only one way not to get into that cycle is actually never have that first drink. So in the next steps, there's 5 steps. That's just not saying like how to stop it, right? But it's how to actually change your mindset and not feel like a victim and actually enjoy every day of your life. Because I do meet people that stop drinking and then they feel like they lost everything and they're not happy and they're angry because everybody else can drink but they can't, and then what's the point? Right? My point is to stop drinking, beat your addiction, and one thing is you don't cure the addiction, you only beat it, right? So you become stronger than your addiction, and that's the only way to stay sober and enjoy your life. So I can tell you a little bit after I came back from a hospital. That's how I saw my visuals. And obviously, if you have alcohol addiction, you know what kind of withdrawals you're going through after you stop drinking. So I came home after a hospital the last time, and I couldn't sleep probably for a week. So I was literally not be able to sleep at all. Every time I would close my eyes, I would have these visuals. It was the same all over kind of visual of, and then instead of just kind of refusing to look at it, I was like, I have nothing else to do. So I kept seeing this little cartoon, and probably for some it would be funny, but for me it was kind of realization that this is what was happening to me in my life, right? So I kept seeing these things. So I saw this little man that had a bottle of wine in his hand. And then in that bottle was a little devil that was just sitting there, right? It was sitting and jumping of joy. And then when the man took the bottle and drank it, it kind of showed like he went into his stomach, right? So then it shows a man and a little devil in his stomach that's really little, jumping out of joy because he finally got in, right? Then it kind of shows where the man starts drinking 1 day a week, 2 days a week. He feels like he's choosing what he wants to drink. And then it shows the little devil growing, right? So it grows so much where now he's laying there and dictating what the man is going to drink until he actually overpowers and takes over his mind and everything. And all the little poor man is doing is going around, and asking for drinks, embarrassing himself, sleeping on somewhere by by the road or everywhere he can, asking for money, asking for drinks, totally embarrassing himself and feeling ashamed and sick and, can't stop drinking, obviously. And then, until does all kinds of obviously hurting people, the people he loves the most, the people that are trying to have him stop drinking and help him, right? Because to me, the alcohol is evil's tool to do like the most harm, right? Because when people drink, that's when all the bad things happen. bad decisions, losing money, losing people, doing all kinds of accidents, right? All these things, the fights, even the physical fights at the bars and stuff, everything happens where alcohol is. So then obviously the man gets so tired where he can't even get up anymore, and then the devil just leaves and says until next time, right? So that's how I see it. That's how my life was. It's always stopping, at the hospital or somehow at home. And then after a while, probably a month, you just start, you think you can have a drink. You think you want the wine. You think you want the beer today, right? And then until you don't even choose, like it's anything is good, right? Whatever you have is good at that point. You start drinking alone because you don't want people to know how bad your addiction is. And then nobody's telling you not to. So you kind of drink, suffer through a day, and all you want to do is go back home and drink again. And then goes that bad that I would drink for a week or two straight, right? They call binge drinking. And then I would wake up 2 weeks later not knowing what happened and not being able to get up, and obviously not being able to eat or drink anything. So then I would go to a hospital, get better, not drink for 2-3 weeks tops, and then start over again. So that was my cycle. And that's how I realized, because this was not drinking for a year, then I was pregnant, was my, obviously, the last thing that I was going to try is, how to control your drinking, which I think if we have an addiction, we can't do that. So the only way between you and getting in that cycle that there's no way out until you hit your bottom is to never have had one drink. So if you imagine it, that drink in between, you take that drink, you say, I'm going to have this one drink. It's just a matter of time when you're going to end up at your lowest. And obviously it's just going to get worse each time, right? It doesn't get better. So as I say, if you haven't done something like drinking, driving, or hurting someone or hurting yourself, right? You're still in time to stop. The sooner you stop, the better. What I always say is, you can always go back, which I can promise you're not going to want to. So just stay in touch. I will keep sharing the videos because I feel blessed to be able to have a life I have right now. And I feel the want to share it with everybody, anybody who can take one tip, who can help themselves, who can help others, and who wants to get out of this, what I call is hell on earth, because you're obviously in hell every day. So if you want to live happy, if you want to beat your addiction, then stay tuned. I'll keep posting videos every week. Thanks so much.